From the nation's capital, Monrovia, good evening, a pleasant welcome to the news today with me, Zach Sherman. Stories top in the headlines. Police arrest 60 pieces of packaged marijuana worth over 600,000 Liberian dollars. Government confirms the printing of new Liberian dollar banknotes. 10 Otavin Williams charges new date for the holding of the President of Liberia elections, says the code was misinterpreted by the Elections Commission. Those plus more package for you when we shall have returned. Keep watching. Welcome back and thanks for rejoining us. This is News Today on KMTV. Over 600,000 Liberian dollars worth of marijuana were arrested, thus were confiscated by the Liberia National Police. According to police spokesperson Moses Carter, the drug was being transported in a blue Toyota Corrida station wagon operated by a man identified as Maurice Kanakai, along with suspect Michael Stevens. Mr. Carter told reporters at a news conference Thursday that the police and the Drug Enforcement Agency remain very robust in fighting crimes and drug abuse as a means of saving the future of the current generation.
The Liberia National Police on today, November 14, 2019 at about 11:50 a.m. confiscated 60 pieces of compressed marijuana valued at over 600,000 Liberian dollars that were confiscated today by officers of the Liberia National Police. And we have also thought to display to you the suspect that was commuting the drug, who is back there. If you look back there, he stands in a New York t-shirt, a yellow t-shirt, marked New York. He was the one commuting the drug that was arrested today. The suspects are currently in our custody and are being investigated on where these drugs were taken from, how were they brought to the country, and those details will be subsequently provided to members of the media. We would like to use this time to send a caveat to all drug dealers across the country that the Liberia National Police, in partnership with the statutory institution that is responsible to enforce drug enforcement in Liberia, the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency remains very robust in fighting crimes and drug abuse in our country as a means of saving the future of our generation.
The government of Liberia has confirmed that it intends to change the current two denominations of the Liberia banknotes currently being used in the country. Speaking at the Ministry of Information regular Thursday news conference, Deputy Information Minister Eugene Facon told reporters the strategy is intended to compel people to bring out monies they are allegedly holding in their homes. He at the same time turned as false and misleading public as speculation accusing government of already printing some unspecified money without the legal authority of the legislature.
You may be aware by now that there are rumors circulating around this country that the government of Liberia has printed money. That is absolutely false, and it's a lie. To print money, you need a bank governor signature on the money. How is it you're going to print money without authorization from the legislature by law? It's not possible. And if you print the money, whose signature will be on the money? So it's a lie. It's a calculated lie on the part of people lacking critical thinking. Because if you have an ounce of critical thinking, you will know that before you print money, you need authorization from the legislature. To print money requires money. And if we have that kind of money to print the money, why don't we go beyond the regularization of civil servant salaries? There are some boom-headed individuals that are privileged to have microphones in their hands in the morning and somehow do not take their time to even apply critical thinking when they get on the radio to make analysis. It's unfortunate, and they keep misleading our people. Printing new money is not the same as replacing your currency. When your currency is in circulation, you can decide to print new bank notes. But when you have a messed up currency and you don't know how much of your money is in circulation, and over 90% of your money is outside the banking sector, and you cannot find your own money and you don't know where your own money is, the best thing to do is to change your currency so that those who have it in their houses can be forced to bring it outside. So we can know in this country who's holding 20 billion Liberian dollars if they have it.
The legal battle for the Press Union of Liberia elections appear to be far as political and legal tension, including arguments from both ends, are increasing from the corridors of the media landscape of Liberia on a daily basis. On Wednesday evening, the Elections Commission released a statement for, among other things, announcing the new date for the holding of the PUL elections. The decision, according to the chairman, Jalawa Tobo, is due to claimed legal advice, as well as the court lifting of the injunction placed on the election last Saturday, November 9, 2019, something Tim Otavan has so far trashed and described it as a complete misinterpretation of the court. According to the youth wing chairman of Tim Otavan P. Nance Morba, the lifting of the injunction, in his understanding of judicial practice and reporting, does not in any way mean a ruling into a particular case has been handed down.
It has been misinterpreted by the press union, and that's why we are even surprised by the EC. And now what we are intending to do is that the very first thing we do, we have to file a bill of information. And for the record, probably for people who do not know what is the bill of information, it's just a legal instrument informing the court, because the court will not go looking for keys, or the court will not do what the party failed to do. We will file a bill of information informing the court that, look, the fact that you have also lifted, you have already lifted the injunction, this is what these guys have done. They have gone the extra mile, and what they have done, they have even made the case to delay follow-up, because at the end of the day, if we file a bill of information, that will be argued before we even get to the main suit. That is the issue. And what they have done is that they are trying to usurp the function of the court, and they are bringing the court into public ridicule. And what is happening now is that once a case is in court, you should not go the extra mile, because doing that, you are trying to prejudice the case. That's what they are trying to do. So we will not go into the merit of the case. What we are calling on our supporters, sympathizers, and well-wishers, we want to make them to understand, because you know, Roman quit to thrive in our country. People listening will say, okay, yeah, we'll go ahead with election. Already in the chat rooms, you have started seeing it. People are concerned about what is happening.
How soon do you intend filing your bill of information?
Before the weekends. Before the weekends. The thing is simple.
Also speaking to KMTV News in an exclusive interview Thursday was Otavan Williams. According to him, the elections body wants to bring the court to public disrepute. That's disrepute, and are monitoring to see the decision that will be taken by the court. We are respecters of the law. As such, we are following the legal proceedings, and the right thing must be done, stated by Williams. The current PUF vice president said the president's situation is a basis for confusion among members of the union and is not handled properly, which according to him is leading to chaos between supporters of the two parties.
For example, for the worst case scenario, right, the court ruled in their favor, which is far from reality. But let's agree for their argument that the court have ruled in their favor on a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You got 2 days to prepare to go to election on Saturday. Is this normal? If the court have ruled in their favor, if you had an independent body, a transparent body, electoral processes are not ordinary processes. Yeah, this is not. It is not a situation where because you have a bread and butter classroom phone fair. So you have to call the candidates back on board. We reschedule. It is not Jalawat Tombo alone going to reschedule this again, because like we already ran into constitutional crisis. We are currently living with the constitutional crisis. So to satisfy their rights, you must be able to set aside the constitutional basis, like Liberia set aside the constitution, went to the Accra Peace Accord, and we had other negotiation in making sure there was a transitional government. And after we had an election that set aside most of our constitutional provision because we wanted peace. So you will now have one Jalawat Tombo who claimed to be operating under and one thing they fail to realize, when you go on Facebook, you will see the membership committee chairman Maxwell Johnson's statement. He will say to you exactly who is he. Look, this is an integrity. I'm saying it again. If one person will love me because I stood for truth and I'm standing for rights, I will live with them. Yeah. What made Jalawat Tombo think that because he's the committee, the EC chair, and he can just wake up in any minute, any second, and just prescribe his own date by his own feelings and his own light? This is a process that we are part of. So we cannot have this process. And the next thing is, the election commission should be most interested in our complaints, our aggrievedness, our disagreement, in making sure that they are corrected for us to make progress.
Monrovia City Mayor Jefferson Koji has disclosed that Liberia's capital cities are expected to face positive dimension. Mayor Koji's optimism comes upon return from the Global Mayors Conference held in South Africa, where he and other mayors flagged challenges hindering cities progress in the country. Addressing the news conference Thursday, the Monrovia City Mayor assured Liberians of incoming tremendous effort that will make capitals reach the mark of being green and clean cities.
The Global Parliament is like a body, like a parental body for all mayors around the world. It was very, very intrigued. We had a fantastic interaction. We were able to even build a relationship between the Mayors Conference of the United States of America, and I will make a more stronger case on that. The president, who currently is the mayor of Detroit, he was also there. So we spoke and we were able to make the case. We listed some of the challenges that we face with. We talk about the waste. The waste management is a fundamental challenge with the city of Monrovia and many other cities in Liberia. We also talk about how economic inflation in the country, that deriving from that you have a lot of vulnerable young people. Job creation is an issue. So we talk how we can be able to see what in a way possible. As usual, again, we were able to flag some of the opportunity with the local universities here, and to see how we can have. So they said to us about January, they will be having their Mirror Conference in Washington, D.C., and to see, and we're even trying to make case that February we're having our Monrovia Day. A lot of them have given their commitment. So we have a lot of goodwill about our Monrovia Day. We're trying to make it as the first of its time, so it can be internationally driven. So hopefully, we hope to parade a good number of mayors that will come across. We have made that case sufficiently. So hopefully, if God willing, we go to Washington, D.C. for that conference with many other mayors also, We'll also be making the case. Finally, they have agreed, and they said to us the student exchange program is something that can be much more able. They can give those opportunities to a lot of students.
Meanwhile, Zwedru and Foya Statutory District mayors have expressed commitment in making their respective cities feel significant impacts on their leadership. The commitment, according to Foya and Zwedru mayors Cecilia Halley and Cecilia Jolo, respectively, is triggered by discussions by other countries' mayors to impact Liberia capitals.
I'm highly impressed by our president and also our lawmaker for taking such a step. And this should not be the end, it should be a continuous process. And this thing should be done for Liberia, that we should see ourselves in a different mood. I found the city of Dublin to be a different city. I said, oh, God, do you love us? Why the city is different from ours? Then I raised my mind to the war that we fought, raised my mind to the past regime, and all of that. So we are made friends, and really it was all about making a sister state, that we too can graduate to where we are. The people are about far ahead of us, but we can get there too if we make up our minds. We can do it.
So I told them about 5 points I gave. Number one has to do with the lacking of safe drinking water. And the second one has to do with lacking of sanitation, congestion of homes, poor home grade, and lacking of stress walls. So these are things that I told them, and we were able to discuss on them. These are my challenges that I put before them. Thank you.
If you're just joining us, this is a reminder that you are watching news today only on KMTV. A half-an-hour news presentation coming to you from our one Liberia and the Global Village in January. Stories we are following. Police arrest 60 pieces of packaged marijuana value over 600,000 Liberian dollars. Government confirms the printing of new Liberian dollars banknotes. Team Otavin Williams stretches new date for the holding of the Press Union of Liberia elections, says the code was misinterpreted by the Elections Commission. Those plus more are still coming up for you right after this break. Welcome back. This is News Today. A two-day business dialogue on the Bannon Liberia Entrepreneur Summit 2019 has opened in Monrovia with a call for the Liberian business community to successfully take ownership of the Liberian economy. The summit honored the theme Entrepreneurship Redefined, taking your business to the next level, focuses on changing the narrative for Liberian businesses and making them dominant the export market. Speaking at the event on Thursday, Cummins Africa Foundation founder Zana Cummins encouraged Liberians business owners to take advantage of technology, improving their businesses amongst others.
And although I know many of your businesses are small today, the goal is to grow your businesses, to make them big, large, and profitable. So again, you can unapologetically be successful, but you can also give back to society and help your fellow Liberians. If you take loans, if you take money from investors, make sure you're using it for the purposes for which the monies are provided, and that is to grow and invest in your business. Instant gratification will not make for long-term success. I also want you to think about technology. How can you use technology as an enabler of your business? The world is being driven by technology. The world is being driven by technology. And so how can you use that cell phone, the app, or develop an app, or have somebody develop an app that can help you drive growth in your business, or other technological tools that you can develop to grow and drive your business? And the last opportunity I want you to think about is around, in the context of Liberia, is around agriculture. And thinking about agro-based businesses, things that are tied to agriculture, not necessarily you being a farmer per se, although that is a good thing, and if that's something you want to do, we should encourage you to do that. So we think about, as you think about opportunities, agriculture, again, not necessarily being a farmer per se, but partner with them perhaps, and how can you add value to the farming. I mean, a few examples of people here today that are trying to do that is using the oil palm. Many of you know this more than I do. You can do so many things with that oil palm, right? But refining the oil, packaging red oil and argo oil in Liberia is something you add value to do right there.
Mines and Energy Minister Jocelyn Murray has stressed the important role the mining sector has played to Liberia's economy over the years. According to him, iron ore mining has amounted for 30% total export earning to Liberia in 2016, something he noted was very commendable. Speaking at a news conference Thursday, Minister Murray disclosed that there is potential for uranium and metals as well as copper, zinc, and nickel in Liberia, noting that they are important prospects to diversify Liberia's mineral economy. And spoke Friday to reporters ahead of the three-day major mining and energy conference in Liberia, scheduled for November 30, that's November 28 to 30, 2019.
Liberia is blessed with an impressive variety of mineral resources and has traditionally relied on mining, namely iron ore, gold, and diamonds, as a major source of income. In a recent report released in October this year by the World Bank's chief economist for Africa, it was stated that the mining sector in Liberia grew by 7% as compared to the non-mining sectors, such as agriculture and manufacturing, which declined by 3.5%. The recent growth in the mining sector signals the potential to contribute significantly to employment, income generation, and infrastructure development. The development of these mineral resources has significant environmental impacts that often go unnoticed. This is why the Ministry of Mines and Energy works in collaboration with the Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, and other environmental stakeholder institutions to ensure that operating companies uphold high environmental standards and best practices. The mining and export of iron ore has been the mainstay of the Liberian economy for more than half a century now. Iron ore mining accounted for about 30% of total export earnings in 2016. The predominant position of iron ore mining in the economy has largely overshadowed the importance of other mineral resources.
Deputy Information Minister Eugene Facon has cautioned the Liberians not to obstruct justice during the arrival of political talk show host Henry Costa. Minister Facon said anyone caught preventing Mr. Costa from being arrested during his arrival to Liberia will be fully dealt with in accordance to the law of Liberia. Anyone attempting or attempt by anyone to obstruct justice will face justice, he said.
Just as there was a raid out to have the radio station of Mr. Costa closed, there was also a raid for his arrest. Many of you can recall when I faced the legislature, I was placed in handcuffs. I was led to jail for 2 days. Even the son of a powerful woman like Ellen Johnson Sirleaf in our society and in Africa was placed in handcuffs and taken to jail. Going to jail is not the end of your life. And going to jail in our country, especially under President Weah, does not mean you are guilty. It's just a process that the law must take sometimes to get to justice. I'm saying this to say that the warrant out there for the arrest of Mr. Costa is from the court. And any attempt by anyone to obstruct justice will him or herself face justice. And it will not be as simple as I beg your please be, because we will set an example that a democracy that does not follow the rule of law is bound to fail. Therefore, our laws will be applied, and we anticipate the arrival of Mr. Costa on the 19th. It will be a test to show whether we are a country or we are a backyard of somebody's property. That day, we will know the difference between the rule of law under a democratic system and that of an autocratic state.
Still at the Ministry of Information, Liberia's Intellectual Property Office, LIFPO, has announced the holding of the 43rd Administrative and 17th Ministerial Council sessions of the African Regional Intellectual Property Organization in Maigibi County. The meeting, according to LIFPO Director General Adeline Cooper, will foster policy dialogue and serve as incubator of ideas for government ministries and partners. Antonin Cooper said that the meetings will provide a platform for more awareness on privacy and a move to help artists benefit from their intellectual properties.
And we will be hosting this year Admin Council and Ministerial Council meetings on policies, decisions, and development as it relates to intellectual property. And after this meeting, Liberia tends to chair the Admin Council and the Ministerial Council meetings for the next 2 years. At the Liberia Intellectual Property Office, we have achieved little in terms of awareness. That is, all around us nowadays, we hear about piracy. What can we do at the Liberia Intellectual Property Office to make sure we minimize, if not eliminate, piracy? Our artists have suffered. Today I make my song from my own creativity. Tomorrow it's all over. I have not even enjoyed 1 inch of what I have created. That is so wrong. We feel for them. We have had awarenesses on piracy. We have had workshops on piracy. And the coming of this Admin Council and Ministerial Council meeting will even help us create even more awarenesses on these things. And how can we help our artists to begin to experience generation of royalties for the work that they do. We need the collective efforts of all of us here in the room. We need to help to enforce the issue of piracy and IP infringement.
With that development, folks, that's how we close down the curtains of this news presentation on KMTV. But before we go, here once again the headlines. Police arrest 60 pieces of blackish marijuana valued at over 600,000 Liberian dollars. Government confirms the printing of new Liberian dollar banknote. Tim Otavin Williams stretches new date for the holding of the Press Union of Liberia elections, says the court was misinterpreted by the Elections Commission. Thanks for joining us wherever you've been. My name is Zach Sherman. Do have yourselves a wonderful Thursday evening.